Give me the jersey! Yes!
This is the moment we got an autograph from Miami Heat legend Dwyane Wade. Now, how we got the autograph, that's an entire story. The story begins back in 2018. This was the year Dwyane Wade announced that he would retire from professional basketball.
This is a tough decision, for me. I've been playing basketball since I was 5 years old.
Join me for one last dance, for one last season.
So the entire season became sort of a farewell tour for him. What made these games so special was that D.Wade started exchanging jerseys with players of the opposing team. It was his way of passing the torch to the next generation. Being in person to witness one of Wade's final games would be a big deal for anyone, but an even bigger deal when you're a lifelong Heat fan. This is Marcus. He is by far the biggest Miami Heat fan I know. He was born in Miami, and even though he moved to LA when he was 3, Marcus has remained a die-hard, no bandwagon, watch every game kind of fan. Seriously, do you see this kid's wardrobe? Does he even own a normal t-shirt? So, if I was gonna go to a game, I just had to bring Marcus along. As I looked through the calendar, I found a game December 10th, 2018. This was the night the Los Angeles Lakers were set to face off against the Miami Heat at Staples Center. Now, this wasn't just another farewell game for Wade. This would be his last matchup against the all-time great and his better-than-a-brother friend, LeBron James. So, I bought 2 tickets, and as we waited for our game in January, I watched a few Heat games with Marcus. As we watched, I noticed a pattern emerge. At the end of every game, Wade would make his way over to a player of the opposing team and offer to exchange jerseys. There would be photos, hugs, and questions from the media. Then, just before he headed to the locker room, he would stop and sign autographs for fans. It got me thinking, is there a way we could be one of these lucky fans? So, the stage was set, and by the time January 10th came along, we both were excited to be a part of this historic night. We arrived at Staples Center, and we made the trek up to our seats in the nosebleed section. If you remember, this was actually a really good game. The score was close every quarter, and the arena was filled with Heat fans, cheering just as loudly as the Lakers fans. At halftime, I watched the players walk through the tunnel to the locker room, and realized that our seats were on the same side as the visiting team's tunnel. It occurred to me that if we wanted a shot at getting Wade's autograph, all we had to do was figure out a way to get close enough to that tunnel. That's when I told Marcus about my idea.
And what did you say?
I was like, oh, we might as well try and see.
Marcus liked the idea of going for the autograph, but he had a good question. What would we hand him to sign? I looked at the Wade jersey he was wearing and said, that. With 2 minutes remaining in the fourth, we left our seats and made our way down to the lower level. We arrived at sections 104 and 105. These sections are situated on either side of the visiting team's tunnel. I knew that we had to position ourselves in one of these sections. But which one? I could see that section 105 definitely had better access to the pathway where the players walk. But I noticed that those seats were filled with Heat fans. And these Heat fans came prepared with tons of Wade memorabilia. It was obvious that they bought these seats knowing that Wade would stop there and sign. So I took a gamble and decided that we would enter the other, less direct entrance, section 104. Meanwhile, Marcus is watching the nail-biting final few minutes of the game on the lower level TV screens. In the final seconds of the game, the Heat were down by 3. With 10 seconds on the clock, Wade had the ball at the top of the key. He was being guarded by none other than LeBron James. With the shot clock winding down, Wade threw up a Hail Mary 3 over LeBron. He missed. The Heat got the rebound, and Justice Winslow quickly attempted another 3. Another miss. Just before the buzzer, LeBron grabbed the final rebound and tossed the ball in the air. And in a dramatic moment, Wade ran over to LeBron and threw his arms around him. As the media swarmed, the two embraced, relishing the moment. Just then, I turned to Marcus and said, "You ready?" With a nod, we began pushing our way through the exiting crowd, moving in the opposite direction. We rushed down the stairs as far as we could go until we found a position along the railing. And then, we waited. As we waited, we watched Wade on the other side of the court, going through his usual end-of-game farewell tour routine. Jersey swap, hugs, media. With a final hug, they went their separate ways, LeBron to the home team tunnel and Wade to the visiting team's tunnel.
What were you thinking as he was like walking towards us? Were you like, oh, it's gonna happen? Or were you like, no,
I was like,
I don't know.
I don't know, because there were so many people that he might just like not care and just leave after a few.
We watched Wade work his way through the crowd, generously signing whatever the fans handed him. At that point, it was unclear if he would come over to our side of the tunnel. You can hear fans on our side yelling over to Wade to get his attention. I was one of them.
Hey, Wade!
And then, he looked over at us. At that moment, the fans around us went crazy. Everyone was pushing and shoving, trying to make their way closer to the railing. One fan even pleaded with others to let him through.
Hey, I came from Australia for this. Move out of the way. I'm serious. I traveled 4,000 miles for this.
But I held tight to the railing and kept my position. Wade made his way over to our side of the tunnel. He even jumped a rope line to get to us. He stopped at a group of fans to my left, and then to me. As I held Marcus's jersey over the railing, Wade reached up and took it into his hands. He flipped it over to the large number 3 on the back. With a permanent marker already in hand, he signed his name. As he handed the jersey back to me, I tried to speak, to express just how grateful I was. "Thank you," I said. "For everything," I explained. Wade graciously nodded and moved along to the next fan. As I turned to Marcus to show him the signed jersey, this happened.
D.Wade! Oh! D.Wade! Oh my gosh! D.Wade! Oh my God! Oh my God! Give me the jersey! Yes! I did! Wade! Oh! No! We did it! We got it, bro!
We both ran outside the arena, still yelling and high-fiving. We stopped to take a photo. Have you seen a happier Heat fan?
But so where's the jersey now?
Well, we got it framed and everything. It's back here behind me.
And that is the story of how we got D.Wade to autograph a jersey.